Part 2. 22 years after the devastation, and 20 years after the final battle with an extraterrestrial alien from another planet, new life breathes, and new governments are formed on the islands. On the islands, and particularly the city of Unoda, it's run by three governors. One of these governors is Tulip Duden, who is the eco-governor, in charge of flowers, green life, trees, bushes, shrubbery, vegetables, fruits, animals, and children. She's also one of the founders of the charter called the Nation Uniting Diversity Among Equals, or New Day. Their laws and rules are done in the Magna Igloo and the Golden Hut of upstanding citizens, both buildings still in construction. They have many laws and rules revised from the Constitution and Declaration of Independence and Bill of Rights, but one of them is we have practical colleges for those who want guarantees on training for a career with small systems. We put in place every diploma is recognized as part of a registered competency for a test for a job. This was based on my dad lecturing me about having a diploma would guarantee you a job. That doesn't work today, but it may work in the year 2033. So last time we were on this page, where Tulip recently visited Kaleido. Kaleido was one of the diseased, one of those affected with the alien virus from Zetrolok, the alien invader who devastated the world. And so his skin turned gray and red. But she was worried, as some of the other citizens were worried of New Day, that he might infect the others with airborne virus or something, or skin virus, or however you contact other people or you contract the virus. So she's figured out that he's safe and he can come to the islands and be the governor of law enforcement. But right now he's not having it. So she's come back home, and she, along with Red to Black, an albino casino, he runs casinos for children and adults. I'll explain more on that later. But Red to Black helps her out delivering goods, food, clothes, crops, vegetables, tools, rations to help with the people on the other side, on the mainland. This is to help them get better, to still prosper after the devastation, after the final battle. The two of them are helping out the citizens on the mainland. So right now she's going to go see Uncle Ito. Uncle Ito is Rai Shoroshima's old friend. So Rai, who was responsible for helping to create Unoda and New Day when he was battling the Ashcan robot and the circus freaks from taking over the planet. Before he died, he had his friends from his baseball days help form, the buildings, neighborhoods, streets, roads. Because he's an engineer, he had his friends help him out. So there's a lot of backstory to how he helped out. So if he was like 10 or 11, if his friends were about 11 or 12, they would be about 32. So they're in their 30s. So Tulip is in her 20s. I would say Red to Black is in his late 20s. Kaleido's in his mid 30s. So we have some Japanese. I think it's Oto-san, konnichiwa, ogenki desu. How is governing the world? So basically, how are you? Oto-san is like uncle. So you're saying Uncle Ito. This is uncle. I wrote this in a different font of Japanese, of kanji. Solo the island. Solo the island, just the island. So it's another future speak. So instead of saying just the island, you're saying solo the island. So it's more, it's incorrect grammar, but in 2030, it's correct grammar. You just have to understand how kids speak in future tense. An island connects. So he's helping to build a new neighborhood, a new community. I think this is for the second. This might be either this is for Unoda or the second city the second village. Right now it's. I haven't read this in a long time. I did write all this, despite anybody thinking otherwise. So there's some more weird grammar. Lupa, which means crazy, wacky, weird. I don't know. No, looking polish. Over yonder. Over yonder is not a word, but um, beyond, over yonder. So it's like over yonder. So it's like taking gibberish to in place of real words. So over yonder means over there, that thing over there. So I make up grammar to kind of substitute real English, like we haven't been doing that in the last 30, 40, 50 years, 100 years. We've always had weird English ever since the turn of the century to the 20th century. So we have a three-story building. The thing about the rules of buildings, they can only be 3 stories tall, and they have to be on ball bearings, like giant ball bearings the size of, um, probably the size of giant medicine balls you see in gyms, or like those balls you can lay your back on, and they're bouncy. So they're giant ball bearings that will move a house away in the event of a volcanic eruption. So we have hospitals, we have a virtual reality, augmented reality for dance partners. We have all kinds of things, rubber streets. There's Mega Taiko High School where kids can build Sumiki wooden bricks. Sumiki is based on a documentary in which I saw people build with these Lego. So think of Lego bricks, but they're wood. And you essentially what you do is you have a metal like a girder, and you get a riveter and you rivet these big iron rods, the kind you see on the skeleton of freeway roads and freeway structures. It's these iron rods that are crosshatched. So, but there's only like vertical, and then you put wooden bricks in them. They fit in like Lego bricks. They fit in really good, and then you just hammer them together. A child could help build the wooden bricks in there, and they're so tough that they keep out water. The way they're structured, they keep out water. So this is based on a real thing that I saw in a Japanese documentary. I had to put this in here. So it's Sumiki brick method of the old 20th century. So they're figuring out new ways to do things, and this is not just made up stuff, but I was inspired by all this future tech that we have yet to see, stuff that you can dream about, but it's really happening. So she goes to the green crock, which is I think it's like crock pot. They have baked pyrite ham slices, which are genetically made ham, like it's not real ham, and sweet chili. So she might be vegan. And then she goes to play pinball golf. So this is the mastermind of the pinball golf. This is something I came up with back in 2007. So Red to Black comes up with this crazy idea. Boom, 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 boom. So this is the pinball table I had set up in Metaphor. You never see this in a novel, but this is the way I did it. So of course the pinball golf doesn't work. So you're swinging like a golf club at a ball, and the physics of a tilted table work. So the ball shoots around on a think of a table that's like maybe 30 degrees up above the ground, and so it's a ping pong back and forth, bouncing around. And you can spell rocket, you get all these different points, but of course it's malfunctioning. There's a little bit of Haitian Creole. And right now she's going to go to the Feisty Orange. He can't go with her. He's got some other stuff to do. But Tulip and Zether are going to go to the Feisty Orange, which is it's a nightclub restaurant that's on a monorail. It gives on the side of I don't know if you noticed this, but on his shoulder is a roulette wheel. It's on flat screens, but it's a little slot machine kind of thing. And so you get 3 cherries. So what does she get? She gets dried cherries, because obviously they're 3 cherries. So that's the joke. Excuse me, what did you say? I kind of remember a little bit of the Haitian Creole. No disrespect to people who actually know the language. So at the bottom of this page, Tulip heads to Gigantes Park, named after Jorge Gigantes, the big guy with the chia body and the crate on his head, the golem kind of guy. And this is, she mentions Syllabone, which we'll see later on. So there's colorful pieces, Archimedes squares of triangles and quadrilaterals, on the road. So think of try to close your eyes for a second and think of Lego bricks, but or Lego or puzzle pieces, but they're lit up from the bottom, and you can walk on these rubber roads that are lit up like Disneyland. So she can see the popcorn ball pit, soundproof house. It's a dome, so you can play various instruments. Kind of like when you go to a park in current time, you can see people exercising on like these push-up machines, pull-up machines, leg machines, pendulums, sit-ups, swings, like all these equipment you would see in a gym, but it's free because it's at a public park. So at the bottom, you see he's got his unique instrument. So we walk in to see Zether. This is showing of what Zether looks like. He's got this island look, and he's got, here's that, I forget what it's called. It's not a marimba. It's a bum 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 bum, bum like island type of. It's like that silver bowl that you make this kind of dun 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 dun, something like that. And this is his melocordica. It's like a piano, strings, sort of a synthesized drum, and a saxophone. So he's a musical character, whereas Tulip is a flower and garden type character. And here he's doing a little bit of warming up here. Here are the notes. I think that's right. Hold on. So it's just a little bit of, he's learning to play more. They have a little bit of talk, and then they go off to the Feisty Orange. These two are together. Let me put a little more to show the whole page here. So they're off to the Feisty Orange. So she describes it sitting on a mechanical spring. Oh, they talk about the different places they go through. So they see there's an observation deck, looks like a giant oak tree. The Doomed to Repeat Museum, which we'll go to later. The Outcaster Water Filtration Tower, which looks like it's a 5-legged version of the Eiffel Tower and the Tokyo Tower with these light up rings. Kind of look like that toy, that Fisher-Price toy. You put the rings in the color rings one at a time, the large one first and the smallest one last. So it looks like that. And then this is the orange, the Feisty. It looks like what is it? The light up parade at Disneyland where everything's made up of little lights. So it's a giant orange that looks like a light up orange. And it's on a mechanical spring to go along a monorail. And they have a Roman guard here that kind of lets you in, kind of like a bouncer. So roses are red, but violet is dead. Exhale, grace is one moment. So she passed the test. So Zether's like, you set up a rose versus violet passcode. I don't think either of the two would mind. So, they're based on the rivalry between Rosemary and Violet, the two sisters from the last book and the first book. So they're going to go meet Posse, who was that sexy, voluptuous kind of heavy-set kind of girl from the Furry Scalers and Others facility, the veterinarian hospital, and Lowride, which is a guy who works on lowriders. So what they're talking about is Dual Land, Dualand. Dual Land is the second village that is planned to follow the New Day Charter. So you have Enoda, and then you have Dual Land. And so Lowride is kind of just like he's almost like Caesar Cruz from the first book, but he's a new generation of that. And I think Lowride is dating a neo-Korean McQueen. That's based on the dance group McQueen Korean models. So they're just talking business, and then they're just talking pleasure. Here we have, so they're in the Chemi Spectrum lab of Unoda. So there's different buildings. You have the sort of United Nations building. You have the Magna Igloo, which is sort of the Senate house where the governors talk, and you have different apartment houses and police stations. But you also have the Chemist Spectrum Lab, where they made an important discovery. So on the computer, there's this language, which is the language that Zetro, the alien that brought devastation upon Los Angeles and other cities, this is what it's saying. So it's in kind of an incomplete sentence. It's Jia qua e vrika wuchio munblun. So it's like, hello, who, what, we communicate unsure. So we're not sure who we're communicating with. It's not a complete sentence. But the Zilo language is what she's interpreted. It's the Walu. I think it's the Wawla language, LWOWLA. So it's the language of the Walu people from the planet light years away. So this is where she talks about Zetralok being the global terrorists. So now we get to the final scene of the story, but the final scene for her story. So this takes place on the beach side of near the city of Unoda. It's a pentagon-shaped arena. So everyone's here. So if you think of the scene from First Contact, Star Trek First Contact, if you remember the last 5 to 10 minutes of that scene, you know what's happening here. There's a silver spaceship coming, and Zether is to her right, and then Syllabone brought some presents, but what are they? We'll find out later. So this is winter time. So we spent a lot of time in the spring, right? But here we are in the summertime, and then we went to winter time. So this is actually the next year. I think it's 2034, and we're seeing these aliens come. 3 beings emerge from the spaceship. And at the bottom of this, somebody else approaches. It's him. It's Kaleido. At this moment, it remains a mystery until we get to the end why exactly Kaleido is there at the moment of first contact with alien life. So we go from Tulip's story all the way to Zether's, which is we go to the summertime. So Zether is kind of like Joe Jackson, if Joe Jackson was 18 or 19 years old with a bald head and kind of this weird island sort of serape with these turquoise stones and like kind of like an Aztec look, but more island. Somewhere between an Aztec islander and a Hawaiian islander, so somewhere in between the two things. That's the way I designed them. So of course, in case you saw it, the volcano Kilauea has erupted, so evac goes are underway. So I remember, I think I based this on the real Kilauea recently erupting and people's homes were destroyed. So in this time period, since the houses are on ball bearings, they can be moved. There's enough warnings for people to get out of there, depending on the levels of the danger. And so all the houses are on the ocean. They're floating on the ocean until the volcano's eruptions have subsided. So everybody's kind of living on the ocean near the city where they're supposed to be. Not everything could be saved. Of course, the music dome in Gigantes Park might be fucked. It's just destroyed. So for 30 days, they're going to just be out in the ocean. And Oisik, kind of Casio backwards. Oisik is Zether's friend. They're gonna do some games. So they're gonna play a game out near the beach, but out in the ocean. It's called I think it's Ocean Fort Cannonball. I'll show you how that works. So it's a race. You can see the little boats. So what they do is they have these forts, these kind of plasticky like forts that they stack on top of each other by like Velcro, I think. And so you would knock the forts out with these balls, like Nerf balls or rubber balls, on the front of your boats. So you're racing so there's 2 ways to win. Either the boat has to make it to the finish line, or your fort is completely taken out from the back by the front cannons of the other boat. So it's a little bit of race here, and TTT, truth telling time, let's go. So they try to knock each other's forts down. It's a little bit of game. I kind of base this on video games and Wave Race and such, and there's 10 points, and so they're messing around. Well, he talks a little bit about. He talks about his life, his role as a entertainment commissioner or governor in charge of entertainment. So there's a 4DS, which is a YouTube evolved, in which you have holograms that show videos in holographic form in real time without glasses or smartphones. You can see the thing in front of you. And then there's different people. There's a modern version of public access TV where people can go into a little studio and entertain people and stuff. Uh, George Lucas magic on old movies. At the bottom, it's like you can redo old movies. So have you ever watched a red and blue tinted Casablanca where Humphrey Bogart kisses a 5 foot tall iguana? So they do some weird shit. They mess up with old movies. And then Red to Black gets in the middle of the conversation, and they're trying to decide who really won. So then they do rock paper scissors. There's scissors. There's paper. Um, so Falmond, I forget what this is. Falmond. This is more Haitian Creole. So they run into Red to Black, and they go into the PG Casino, which is it's a casino, but it's a compromised casino. So it's a more sophisticated version of Chuck E. Cheese or Dave and Buster's. So kids who are 7 to 17, you have to get good grades in school. If you get good grades, you go to the casino, and then you could do games like paper, rock, and scissors, or you could do hedgehog races, or multiplayer pinball, darts, scavenger hunt, to get many college tokens as possible, so you can go to in a Shotoshima named after Rai Shotoshima to pay for as many classes, books, and supplies as possible. So you're gambling for your future to get the best future. It may be immoral in some cases. Some people, some Christians say, "How dare you? How dare you?" Be like, I don't care. You're going to do some things that people aren't going to agree with. You try to do the best you can. I think I have a rule in here somewhere that it says that you must, if you're a company supporting a politician, you must have a proxy answer for you so that the politician doesn't know which corporation is supporting that person. So it's all proxies and secret Santas supporting politicians. So I think I wrote that somewhere in this book. If I didn't, oops. But anyway, back to the scene at hand. We have they're going to play poker. So I think Zether's fixing up a drink, and then, or actually, no, not yet. I think that's afterwards. So I like this dialogue where Oisek is talking to Oisek works on the piano. He's part of Zether has a band of people who help him play music, entertain the guests, entertain the community of Unora. So Oisek says, "Do you remember Tulip's birthday in 2 weeks, right?" I said, "How insensitive you think me. Besides, I have to get creative." I said, it's all about hand. So he's talking about other stuff. "But you still, shall we begin? You didn't answer my question. Your question is bogus. If I did remember her birthday, I told you the truth. If I forgot, you just reminded me, so I lied." So that's one of my clever dialogues. So we'll end on this page, but I'll show you what they're doing here. So Red to Black is playing blackjack. Or I think it's, blackjack. It's 6 hearts. Zether's got 5 of clubs, 2 of diamonds, go again. 6 of hearts, 5 of clubs, 2 of diamonds, 8 of diamonds. So how will this end? I'll tell you all about that tomorrow.